Guys, it's your girl Jamila, and in today's video we'll be drafting an asymmetric neckline design. Okay, so now one thing with I've already told you guys on the channel before, one thing with drafting asymmetric bodies is that it has to be folded. Okay, it's the center front has to be it has to be folded into two. Okay, that is, your front bodies has to be into two. Okay, so this time around is going to be asymmetric for both the center, for both the front and the back. So I have the back folded into two. Okay, this is my basic bodice pattern. I have the back folded into two and I have the front folded into two as well. Okay, so after drafting your basic bodice pattern, okay, so now depending on where you want your bodice to stop, okay, if it's going to be a blouse, fine, you're going to be taking the length of the blouse, but for this is going to be stopping at your at the waistline. Okay, so depending on what you want. Okay, I just want to show you guys how to go about drafting asymmetric neckline and how to prevent gaping on your chest line, because it's very important, especially if you are working with an asymmetric neckline that has a very wide neckline. I don't know the right word to use at the moment. Okay, so now what I'm going to do now is this is my basic bodice pattern. As I've said, this is my shoulder to my bust, to my chest line. This is the shoulder to the bust point, shoulder to the under bust, and shoulder to the waistline. And I've already gone ahead to contour my under bust. Okay, so all these things are things that we are actually familiar with on the channel. Okay, so and if you don't know how to draft a basic bodice pattern, I have how to draft a basic bodice pattern on my channel, and I also have how to contour your under bust on the channel. Okay, so now what we are going to do now is to, after drafting your basic bodice pattern, the next thing for you to do is to trace it. Okay, so you're going to be tracing it to the other side. So I've already gone ahead to trace to the other side for both the front and the back. Okay, so that it will save us time. Okay, so the next thing for me to do now is to open it up. Okay, so I'm going to be opening it up like this. Okay, so we're already into the tutorial. Okay, so I would mark out my center front line. Okay, first thing, you're going to be marking out your center front line. Okay, so here is my center front line. So we're going to be working on the front before we work on the back. Okay, so after marking out my center front line, the next thing that we are going to do now is to alter the neck width. Okay, so the standard neck width I use here is 3 by 3. Okay, now before altering the neck width, I'm going to place my paper like this. Okay, to take out my front and my back. Okay, I'm going to place my paper this way in front of me like this to actually indicate the left and the right. Okay, so now here is my right and here is my left. Okay, so the next thing for you to do now is to take your paper like this, and this mostly asymmetric, the this kind of neckline that we're going to work with now is, one part will be an armhole princess dart. Okay, and the other part is going to be a shoulder dart. Okay, like I said, one part that is the right side of the top is going to be an armhole princess dart, and this part, the left side, is going to be a shoulder dart, and it will stop at the armhole. For this left part is going to be like in form of a sleeveless. Okay, so now what we are going to do next is to alter the neckline. Okay, so first thing first is, this is the right side and it's going to be having a shoulder. Okay, your right side is going to be having a shoulder. So what I'm going to do now is, the standard neck width I use here is 3 by 3, so I'm going to be bringing it up. I'm going to be extending it, increasing it by 0.75. Okay, I'm going to be extending it by 0.75. so now I've already gone ahead to do this. Now, one thing with working with a sleeveless, I've always been saying this. Okay, now this is my actual chest line, this is my actual armhole length. Okay, which is 7.5, but this part here is going to be a sleeveless. Okay, this part here is going to be a sleeveless. So what I'm going to do now is this, to avoid the boobs from showing. Okay, to avoid it, or to prevent the boobs from showing, so I'm going to be going up by half of an inch. Okay, so I'm going to be going up by half of an inch. I want to redraw my armhole. So the same thing you do here, that is the same thing you're going to do to the left side of your back. I hope you understand that. So once this is done, so the next thing for us to do is to determine how low you want the neckline, okay, to be. Okay, so I can decide to come down like this. Can decide to come down by 7. That is from my collarbone. This is the collarbone. It's going to be our collarbone. Can decide to come down by 7, by 6, depending on what you are comfortable with. Okay. So, or I can decide to just connect it like this to the armhole. Okay, but you have to make sure that it's not you have to make sure that it's covering where it's supposed to cover, though this is based on your choice. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to be coming down here at the center front line here. I'm going to be coming down here by let's say 6. Okay, 6.5. This is my bust point. Okay, let's say 6 inches. Okay, I'm going to be having a kind of a sweetheart neckline. Okay, then this next thing, after determining the cleavage, this is just like the cleavage length. Okay, so the next thing for me to do now is remember this side. This side is going to be our princess line, and this armhole princess dart, and this part is going to be a shoulder dart. So what I'm going to do now is this. I'm going to be taking my tape like so. Okay, just like the normal way we do our shoulder dart, and I'll divide it into 2. Okay, I'll divide it into 2, then I'll make a connection like so to the bust point. Okay, so you make your connection to the bust point, which is this. Okay, so after making your connection to the bust point, you will now determine your over bust line. Okay, that is where you want your over bust to be. This is our cleavage length, and this is where this is just like the center front line. Okay, so this is the cleavage length. So my over bust, let's say I want my over bust to be at around 7. Okay, at around 7. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to make a connection like this. Okay, I'm going to make a connection like this. Okay, and like this. I hope you understand. So it will be going to the armhole, to this half inch that we came up by. Okay, so it will be entering inside, because this side is not going to be having a sleeve. Okay, it's not going to be having a sleeve, so it will be coming like this. I hope you understand this. I'm loving the shape it's giving me. So this is it, guys. So we've successfully drafted the front. Okay, so depending on what you want, it can come like this. Okay, like the one on the thumbnail is coming straight like this, but I decided to just make it like this so that you guys can actually understand how this whole thing is. Okay, so now we are going to be contouring the over bust here. Now, how do you go about the contouring of the over bust? I'm going to be going in here by 0.75, 0.75. Okay, 0.75 on both dialects. So if you are working for a plus size, you can go in here by 1 inch here and 1 inch here. Then I'll make my connection like so. Okay, I'll make my connection like so. So after making the connection like so, I am going to through the line, because this most times the lines, one will be longer than the other. Okay, so we are going to be throwing the line like so. You fold it like this. Okay, and you can see that one part is long, this part is longer than the other one, so we are going to be connecting, to be training it. Okay, going to be connecting it like this. So this is the actual line now. Okay, so we are done with this part. Now let's move over to the armhole part. Now for this armhole area here, so what you're going to do is to get the midpoint of your armhole, just like the way we do our armhole princess, that get the midpoint of your armhole, or you can come down here by 3 inches. Okay, so when you get the midpoint of your armhole, you will just connect it from the bust point. Okay, from the bust point, we use a straight line. Okay, when you use two curving line, it leaves excesses on your pattern. Okay, so when you take it like this and you connect it, so I am going to be contouring the armhole by 1.5. Okay, by 1.5 inches. Okay, I'm going to be contouring the armhole by 1.5 inches. Then I'll make my connection like this. Okay, you take it off. Then after contouring it like that, you are going to be going up by that same 1.5 that you used to contour the armhole. Then you redraw another armhole. Okay, you're going to be redrawing the armhole. Okay, so this is it, guys. So this is it. So we are almost done with this. I'm loving what I'm having. Okay, so we're almost done with this. Now when I'm working with asymmetric necklines like this, okay, when I'm working with asymmetric neckline like this, in as much as I've done my contouring here, I like to take gaping dart, because it might gape. Okay, so now what are you going to do? Okay, at any point around this area, I'll just connect my line like so, meeting the bust point. Then I'll take 0.25 on both sides of the dart leg. 0.25 here, 0.25 here, okay, and I'll make my connection like so. This is to prevent the neckline from gaping, to make the neckline or the chest area relax so perfectly well, okay. I often take this when I'm making necklines like this, okay, to make the neckline to relax perfectly well. Then you can also go ahead to do your shoulder tightening. This is 0.5 for the front, okay. Shoulder tightening of 0.5 for the front. There is no shoulder here, so there is no point of you doing any shoulder tightening around that area. So I am going to be connecting it like this, okay. So this is also to make the shoulder to relax well, okay, to make the fabric to make the top to relax well on your shoulder. So at this point here, we are going to be closing. I'm going to be opening it like so. Okay, so we are going to be closing the bust that. So when you're closing the bust that, make sure that you blend all sharp points, okay, because make sure you just blend all sharp points. So I'll close my bust that like so, and I'll also do the same thing to the other side. So I'll open the bust that, I'll open the waist that, okay, and I will close the bust that. Okay, so we can now, the next thing is just for you to blend all sharp points, okay. Make sure you blend all sharp points. If you don't blend it, guys, you're going to be experiencing point you're going to have a pointed edge, okay, on your fabric, okay, after joining your fashion fabric. So make sure you blend all sharp points. So when this is done now, I'll cut it out so that you guys can actually see how it looks like before we work on the back. Okay, now what we're going to do now is this. I'll keep this aside now and we'll work on the back. Okay, so here is my back. Okay, I've already gone ahead to draft it and also to transfer, to trace to the other side. Okay, the left. Okay, I will take this my paper now, and I will you need to be very careful when you are doing this, okay, because like I wanted to actually make a mistake here. Okay, when you do it this way left right and you put it this way left right, it will not align. Okay, so after you are done drafting your front, you are going to be taking the front piece and placing it on the back piece like so, okay, and mark out where the right, this is your right, okay, and this is the left side, and the asymmetric design is on the left side. Okay, so now after doing this, the next thing for you to do, first thing first is this. Remember, you alter the neckline for the front, okay. That is, you went in by 0.75, okay, you went in by 0.75, okay. So after doing this now, you went in by 0.75. After doing this, remember, by the left hand side you went up by half of an inch, okay, you went up by half of an inch, and you make your connection like this. Okay, now when this is done, and also, and just the same thing you did for the front, that's what you're going to be doing for the back. And also the left side is going to be a shoulder dart, so you're going to be inputting your shoulder dart here. Okay, you're going to be inputting your shoulder dart, and I will make my connection like so. Okay, so after doing this now, the next thing for you to do now is to create your armhole. You can decide to leave it like this, but you can decide to also do a armhole princess that at this at the right hand side. I hope you guys are understanding this. Okay, so if at this point you haven't subscribed, please do want to subscribe to the channel, right? So you get the midpoint of your armhole. This is the midpoint of the armhole, so I am going to be connecting it to the to this point here. Then I'll go up by half of an inch. I'll make my connection like this. Okay, I'll go up by half of an inch and make my connection like this. Now when this is done, this neckline, depending on what you want, okay, you can take it any way you want to take it to meet at this ample area here. Okay, so I'll just take it like this. Okay, if you want it to be low, you want it to be high, anyhow you want to make it. So I'll just take it like this. Okay, I'll just take it like this. Okay, I'll just take it like this. So after taking it like this, you have to contour. Okay, I will advise you to contour the chest line. Okay, so I'll go in here by 2 points, by half of an inch, half inch here, half inch here. You can go in by 0.25, 0.25 on both sides. Okay, so depending on, because if you don't do this, you might experience gap around that area. So I'll make, just connect it like so, and connect it like so as well. So we've successfully contoured our, we successfully contoured it. Okay, so this is it, guys. So let me cut it out so that you can actually see how it looks like. So I'm going to be cutting this out. Okay, I'm going to be cutting this out, and after cutting this out, okay, we are going to be slashing them. Now if you notice, a dart is going out from this is the armhole length. Okay, a dart is going out from this area. Okay, you are going to be replacing it. I don't have enough paper here. I would have paper. When I'm transferring to my fabric, I'll replace it. So you are going to be replacing this is 1/1 inch. 1 inch is leaving here, so you're going to be replacing the 1 inch here and connect it to your bust, to your waistline. Please don't forget that, to avoid shortage. So what I'm going to do next is to cut out. Okay, so I'm going to be cutting out this. I can decide to close my dart. Most times I don't even put that at the back of my at the back of my back bodies. Okay, I can decide to close my dart, but make sure you label it. This is up, this is the inseam, this is down. Okay, to avoid stories that pierce the heart. Then I will cut it out like so. Then this is the center line. Okay, so okay, so this is it, guys. So this is the back. You can see that it's as if I want to. Okay, this is the back. You have to label it. This is up, this is the center back, this is down. Okay, you need to label it to avoid storage. This is down. Then I'll take my front now and cut it out. Okay, to be closing the this gaping that here. Okay, so I'm going to be closing it, and you will withdraw. You can see that the line has alternated. Okay, so I am going to be redrawing it. So you redraw it. Okay, so I'm done with this. So here is what I have. Here's the front, and here is the back. Okay, here's the front, here is the back, and this is the, you can see everything is mashing up. Okay, everything is mashing up. So guys, we have come to the end of this. Okay, so feel free to drop your questions in the comment section. I'll be seeing you guys in my next video.